Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. Today, we're going to provide you with information relating to the Event Waste Reduction Grant Program application process. Please be aware that we are recording this presentation and will make it available online by the end of the week. Also, there is an updated application package handout available for download at the bottom of the GoToWebinar attendee control panel. The updated application package is also available via our website, SWACO.org. If you downloaded the package prior to today, please be advised that there was an error in the document specific to the funding section. It stated that if you are awarded funding, you may request to receive 50% upfront. We apologize for this error, as funding through this grant program is 100% reimbursement only. This presentation is scheduled for approximately a half hour. Before we start, we'd like to share a little bit about our presenters today. My name is Christy Higginbotham. I'm a programs administrator for SWACO. I've been with the organization for over 17 years and focus on administering our grant and school education programs. I have the pleasure of working with our other presenters, Hannah Greer-Brown, SWACO's communications manager, and Alex Slaymaker, our outreach specialist. I'll turn it over to Hannah to say a few words now.
Thanks, Christy. As the communications manager for SWACO, I have the pleasure of helping to craft and share how SWACO and our partners are making Franklin County a top-notch community in which to live, work, and recycle. Alex?
Thanks, Hannah. My name is Alex Slaymaker, and I'm SWACO's outreach specialist. For the last 6 years, I've helmed events of diverse sizes and types maximize recycling in Arizona and Ohio communities. Now at SWACO, I work on a diverse range of programs, including helping event organizers reduce waste by providing free technical assistance and managing our container loan program, which I'll talk more about later. Christy?
Thank you, ladies. I will discuss the grant details and process during the webinar. Hannah will cover how we can work together to create news and awareness should your application be selected for funding, and Alex will discuss SWACO's container loan program and technical assistance that we can offer for your event. If you have any questions at any time, please type them into the chat box of the attendee control panel. We will answer questions in the order that they are received at the end of the presentation. If we do not get to your question, please don't worry. We'll be sure to follow up with an email and answers. Also, please keep in mind that you can contact me to discuss any additional questions you may have as you draft your application. The SWACO Grants program consists of two different grant offerings: the Event Waste Reduction Grant and the Community Waste Reduction Grant. Both have different grant cycles and were created to promote waste reduction, recycling, and reuse projects within SWACO's jurisdiction. These programs fall under the purview of the Innovation and Programs Department, which is focused on building collaborative partnerships that impact and improve the waste stream, leverage the waste stream for economic benefit, and contribute to a safe and healthy community. The goal for today's presentation is to provide more insight with respect to the Event Waste Reduction Grant Program. The purpose of this grant program is to provide reimbursement funding for activities that increase reuse, recycling, and composting, as well as diversion-related outreach and education activities at public events. Our agenda includes information from each section of the grant application, beginning with our eligible events section. This is a competitive grant program. Your application will be weighted against other applications and evaluated by an internal SWACO review committee. The committee is made up of representatives from SWACO's legal, finance, and innovation and programs departments. In order for an application to be evaluated by SWACO's review committee, there are fundamental criteria that should be met. The program activities must occur in the 2018 calendar year and be open to the public. If your event charges a fee to attend, that's okay. It just can't be an invitation only. If this is a new event, an anticipated attendance of 2,000 people should be anticipated. The applicant and the project also must be located in SWACO's jurisdiction. This is comprised of Franklin County and includes the cities of Canal Winchester, Dublin, New Albany, Reynoldsburg, and Westerville. The map shows Pickerington and parts of Lithopolis but these communities are outside of our jurisdiction since the majority is outside of Franklin County. Funding requests can be made for new supplies, equipment, and/or professional services. Applications and supporting documentation must be received by January 12, 2018 by 5 p.m. Applications must be submitted by the organization responsible for implementing the event. Consultants, contractors, vendors, or unaffiliated individuals may not submit on behalf of the entity responsible for implementing the event. Requests for existing programs or services cannot be considered. Examples of existing program costs include costs associated with the haul away of recyclables or compostables, if in fact you're already paying for these services or other services already covered under an existing contract or budget. If you have received a SWACO grant in the past, please keep in mind that funding cannot be awarded for the same program activities as previously awarded. However, applications requesting funding for the expansion or improvement of an existing program will be considered. Sufficient detail regarding how the program will be improved upon and/or expanded is required. And last, diversion equipment like bins, carts, and signage must be reusable and durable. Eligible funding amounts begin at $2,000 for events with at least 2,000 attendees and go up in range to $6,000 for events with at least 30,000 attendees. Again, this is a reimbursement grant, so SWACO will repay the award recipient for grant-approved expenditures made after the grant agreement has been signed by SWACO and the recipient. Please note that any purchases made prior to the execution of the grant agreement, even if they're approved, are ineligible for reimbursement. Proposed programs must be sustainable. Equipment should be reusable and not disposable. This picture is an example of a sustainable approach to a post-consumer collection program. The organizers that received funding for this equipment also agreed to use the equipment at other events as well, so that made the application that much stronger. Please note that funding cannot be used to assist with the purchase of trash containers or non-durable items like bags and other disposables. Sorry, let me back up. Contractual expenses relating to the provision of waste reduction and diversion consulting or planning services, the hauling of recyclable or compostable materials, or fees related to the acceptance of recyclable or compostable materials at a licensed facility are eligible for funding if these services are not already being provided. If grant funding for professional services to assist with the consulting or planning is approved, a copy of the resulting plan or report generated will be required to be submitted with your final report. Additionally, we request that tipping receipts be submitted with all final reports, even if the grant dollars were not supporting hauling services. We feel that this documentation is critical for organizers to receive and review in order to gain a better understanding of costs associated with the diversion. Funding for materials and supplies relating to outreach, education, and awareness activities may also be requested. This can include costs associated with the design and development, printing on durable signage, or with information booths. So this is a partial list of items that cannot be considered for funding under this grant program. Funding for the same program activities as previously awarded. Again, grant-approved purchases made prior to the execution of an agreement. In-house personnel costs, overhead or indirect costs, general office supplies and equipment, food and catering, solid waste equipment and services, and hazardous waste recycling or disposal are not eligible. Please also keep in mind that these items may also not be applied to the 25% matching fund requirement as part of this program. If you plan to implement a recycling program at your event, it is very important for you to work with your hauler or haulers to understand exactly what they will accept for recycling. In most cases, plastic cups, plastic cutlery, and paper plates are not accepted for recycling in Central Ohio. If you are awarded a grant through SWACO, you will be notified within 4 to 6 weeks after the grant deadline of this status. Following that, SWACO will host a mandatory informational meeting for all of the award recipients. This meeting will provide clarity on our internal process for executing the agreement, as well as addressing specific agreement sections. And then it also provides an opportunity for awardees to answer any questions. And then following the informational meeting, we will execute grant agreements. Now I'm going to turn it over to Hannah to discuss some of the details of how we can work together to create news and awareness if you are awarded funding.
Thanks, Christy. So working more closely with event partners is just one way in which we're focused on better serving our community. We want to be your one stop for recycling and waste diversion information and to build a community together that is environmentally safe and resourceful. In order to visually reflect those principles, earlier this year, SWACO undertook a rebrand of our logo and tagline. If you have our former logo on file, please download an updated high-resolution new logo and our style guide on how to use it from our website at swaco.org. If you're awarded a grant, you'll be provided this information as part of your media kit welcome package for new grant recipients. Also, as part of your grant agreement, you'll be asked to work with us to help tell the story of how our community is recycling right and, as a result, making a difference. We'll work with you to add our logos to your materials, such as your media ads, educational items, and provide quotes and content for your newsletters, as well as create a joint news release announcing the grant award and plans for how the funding will contribute to a cleaner, healthier, and more sustainable Franklin County. We also want to connect with you on social media. You can find us on Facebook at swaco.org and Twitter at SWACO Green. We also appreciate and request that SWACO support be acknowledged on any printed material, such as in a newsletter article, marketing and educational materials, program fact sheets, and paid media advertising. You can add our logo, or if you prefer and space allows, you can simply add text that acknowledges SWACO support. Here's an example of how previous grant recipients have chosen to do this. Your interest in our programs is important to us, and we look forward to helping you address your waste needs. In fact, we also have a loan program for containers available, and Alex is here to share more information with you on that program. Alex?
Thanks, Hannah. If you're planning an event and need recycling bins, but you lack year-round storage or only need containers a few times a year, you may want to consider borrowing them and using grant funding for other diversion opportunities. We loan containers to event organizers hosting public events in Franklin County. Containers may be used for many types and sizes of events, including small events in one room with 25 people or huge events of 500,000 spanning large parks. This program is very popular. Event organizers diverted over 90,000 pounds of recyclables over the last 7 months with these bins. We loan Clearstream recycling, compost, and landfill containers that are collapsible and easy to assemble. We also provide sorting signage like you see in this photo. Specifically, event organizers may request up to 150 recycling containers or 75 recycling and 75 landfill containers for your event. 10 compost containers are also available for loan. Each bin, including the lid and frame, requires a deposit of $10. No portion of this deposit check is cashed if all bins are returned undamaged and clean. Once event organizers request to borrow containers for an event, they work with me to organize pickup and drop off. If you rent a large number of containers, like over 100, or our team will arrange drop off during normal work hours. If a smaller number of containers are borrowed, then organizers are asked to pick up containers and drop them off at our office in Grove City during normal work hours. For a little context, I can fit 30 containers in my Chevy Cobalt, so they really break down well. If you're interested in this program, check out more info on our website, swaco.org/CLP, and also feel free to email me at outreach@swaco.org. Whether you are using the Container Loan Program, the Event Waste Reduction Grant Program, or both, you may have questions about how to recycle right and make a difference at your event. Check out the Container Loan Program webpage for a link to a short webinar highlighting best management practices for event waste reduction. Who should attend? Well, if you've ever wondered how to decide the number of bins to set out at your event or whether bioplastics are actually eco-friendly, then you should tune in and get all your questions answered. We will also explore what's accepted for recycling, how to write vendor and hauler contracts to maximize recycling, and how to track and share success. Register today to ensure your hard work organizing and planning produces an inspiring eco event. Back to you, Christy.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. So we're just going to review quickly our 2018 timeline so you're all in the loop with our milestone dates. Again, January 12th, 2018, the applications are due by 5 p.m. And again, I'll just note that if you have any questions as you're drafting your applications prior to this deadline, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and ask those questions. It's better to have them answered and clarified prior to submitting your application. In early February 2018, SWACO's Evaluation Committee will convene and review and score the grant applications. Early March, we will notify the award recipients and also notify them of the informational meeting, which will also occur in March. By the end of March, our goal is to have all required forms completed and all grant agreements executed. And then in early April, everyone should be good to go to start purchasing and implementing their programs. Again, we would like to thank everyone for attending. We sincerely appreciate your interest. And at this time, we are happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You can enter those questions into the question panel if you have any, or feel free to shoot us emails.
It looks like okay, someone is asking what types of materials are generally collected and accepted at events. And from our experience, the majority of the materials generated at events are plastic bottle net containers, glass bottle containers, aluminum cans, paper in the form of flyers, and then also cardboard. I think one thing to consider when you are having your vendors move into an event, there is typically a large amount of cardboard generated, and that's real important to collect for diversion as well. It's equally important to train those vendors on breaking down the boxes. That helps make the collection easier, and it also saves space in the dumpsters that you have on site. And so these types of questions are also addressed and answered in the Event Waste Reduction webinar. And we also go over these types of questions and points of clarification through the technical assistance that we provide. And so again, if you have any questions or concerns as you're thinking about implementing your sustainability programs, please again do not hesitate to reach out to us. We would love to weigh in and provide you with information on our experience. So it looks like another question is, sorry, bear with us, is a bag type recommended for the loan bins? So I'll let Alex field that question.
Yeah, so the container loan program uses Clearstream containers, which require a 45-gallon bag. And typically, the bags that we purchase are made of recycled plastic, at least partially made of recycled plastic. So that's what we try to encourage other event organizers to do, just to support the recycling industry. Typically, the composting processors can't break down bioplastics, and so I don't typically suggest using bioplastic bags for the composting or anything like that. But you really have to talk to your specific processors, for composting if you have that at your events.
And if you take advantage of our container loan program, we will provide you with one bag for each container, and then any other bags after that that you'll need, you would need to purchase.
Thanks for your question.
Okay, everyone, it looks like we have answered all questions. Again, thank you so much for attending our webinar today. Our contact information is on this slide. Again, we will be making this webinar available to listen to via the web page, the Event Waste Reduction Grant web page. So please don't hesitate to contact any of us if you have any additional questions or concerns. Thanks so much. Have a great day.